Hello and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Helena.
And for this episode, we watched 101 Dalmatians.
Ow, ow.
Because it's our 101st episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't the one with the Doggy Doggy Dog song though, so...
No. Is that what you remember from it?
No, I remember quite a bit from this. So we're watching the live action ones, the one from 1996 with Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
I definitely watched this a lot as a kid. Didn't really remember the first half that much, mainly remembered the bit that's basically Home Alone, but with dogs.
Yeah, Dog Alone.
Yeah, that was great. Did you guys watch this one often? Because I feel like I had a VHS of this at least. And
I watched it all the time. This one I think I watched more than the second one, but I remembered bits of the second one better.
Oh, yeah,
but this one
the
is
very
the
end of
one.
the second one I think I've seen on TV several times.
But this is the better film.
Yeah.
No, I definitely had a VHS of it. I can't remember if it was an official VHS or if it was taped from the TV.
Yeah.
Did you have adverts?
I think I remember adverts, but like specifically one hot chocolate advert. Specifically.
I watched I think this is probably the first time I've seen this all the way through.
Right.
Really?
I was a big fan of the animated one, but I never really watched this one.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
That's
yeah,
surprising.
I've maybe seen the animated one once. But
Yeah.
I've seen this one a lot.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones that maybe because we were quite firmly a cat household growing up.
No,
I don't know, but yeah.
So
Wasn't
was I.
interested
We
in
still watched the movie.
Yeah, no, I know. I was trying to think, like, why? Because after watching this, my first question was, why didn't I have this as a kid? I would have loved this film.
Yeah. Like, so what I remember, I kind of forgot that the first 20-25 minutes is just a rom-com, but also the dogs do the same things. Like,
yeah, it's a rom-com for
It's
most
also
people.
the most kid idea of a rom-com. I love it, where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, our dogs are in love. Oh, I think we're in love. Let's get married.
Yeah.
let's get
Oh.
married.
Immediately.
And it's the guy from Dumb and Dumber, and it's Jolie Richardson, the same year that she was in other favourite movie of this podcast, Loch Ness.
She's better in this.
Oh, yeah, by
Everyone
far.
is better. But
But also, Hugh Laurie and Ron Weasley's dad.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
what a
amazing.
cast.
Yeah.
I kept
and then
forgetting it was Hugh. Throughout the film, I kept forgetting it was Hugh Laurie. Whenever he wasn't on screen, I was convinced it was someone else.
But then it's
Apparently
also, it's Thingy from Blackadder as well. So,
Yeah.
makes sense.
yeah, apparently he did like audition to play the part of Roger, but
Mm.
I feel like he's great. Like they're the
He's-
characters that I remember the most from this
Yeah.
movie.
He's
Like
great in the role.
easily.
But I just kept forgetting it was him, and then every time I went back, I went, "Oh, it's Hugh Laurie."
Hmm.
Oh, every time, which is great.
What's
Oh,
the
it's
other
Hugh
actor's
Grant.
name?
No.
Remember?
Mark Williams, the other guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he plays-
sorry. The Tim McKinney,
Yeah,
who was Alonzo.
yeah.
Oh yeah, because I remember as soon as I saw him in this, I was like, oh, I remember him. He's got quite a big part, but turns out that's the second one, which we'll get to
Yeah.
next week.
I mean, I know him for Blackadder, and he's one of the people in Notting Hill. You know that film where Hugh Laurie falls in love with an American girl.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. Who did I say?
Hugh
Hugh
Laurie.
Laurie.
Hugh Laurie. They're
A film
pretty
where Hugh
similar.
Laurie plays a doctor. Yeah, so this film it's so nice. This film, it's so sweet and kind.
Yeah,
It really is.
it's like a hug.
It is.
And you just know, like from the get-go, Disney ain't killing no puppies.
Disney ain't gonna kill no dogs in this film. No dogs.
Kills a tiger.
In fact, every puppy that was used in this film, which is more than 300 puppies, they made sure were adopted.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and a lot of them were adopted by like the cast and crew as well.
Yes, because if you work with dogs for that long, puppies especially, you're gonna want to take it home.
You're going to
Yeah.
definitely have a bit of a thing for Dalmatians by the end of
Gonna have a
shooting
thing.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had so many because I read that they grow that quickly that each puppy they could only have for about 2 weeks before it got too big.
Yeah, puppies grow quick.
Yeah.
Who was your favourite? I love Dipstick.
Dipstick's great.
I can't remember them. I can barely remember the human character names.
Oh, I don't remember the human character names, but you've got Lucky, you've got Pearl, you've got Joy.
Barely.
I feel like Pongo and Purdy are great, even if they do almost cause like collisions and.
No, they're there to kill.
Okay, so let's we'll go to the start of this. Train your goddamn dogs.
Yeah.
They are trained. They're just in love.
Yeah.
No, Pongo at one point is just speeding. Why is he speeding through the?
Because he's running after Purdy.
He's running after Purdy.
No, like the second time, yeah, but like the first time, what was the reason?
Oh, he was running after Purdy. He was just running after Purdy both times.
He saw that hot ass female Dalmatian and was like, I want a bit of that.
I'm in love. That's it.
These dogs are terribly. There is no recall.
No, they're really well trained dogs. They just like fell in love because they do shit that like they're told they act like people. Dogs.
Yeah,
they're like really well trained.
I'd completely forgotten that it is like that, where it's like the sort of rom-com setup of them two getting together, but everything they do, the dogs do the exact same thing.
Yeah. Even the little nose to nose at the wedding ceremony, and she's got a little bridal collar on, and he's got a little groom collar on, and it's all like no.
But of course,
and then there's all the dogs outside.
They had to get married before they have kids, though, because it's a Disney movie.
Well, yeah,
from the 90s.
Yeah. You can't have these puppies out of wedlock.
No.
Because when they get skinned, they'd go to purgatory.
Exactly.
True. When Cruella kills them.
Do you think they were all doggy baptized?
Oh, one can only assume.
Yeah.
No, as we know from another famous film, all dogs go to heaven.
Oh, yeah,
regardless.
What about the ones born in sin?
There's no such thing as a dog living in sin. You can be born. You know such thing as dogs living in sin. They're living their best
marriage
all the time. They're just having a good. Nowhere in the Bible is it Pongo and Purdy. It's Adam and Eve. Yeah, no, they all fall in love, the dogs and the people.
And then guess what happens? Because they didn't spay their damn dogs.
No.
No.
Or else they couldn't have puppies.
But they have some puppies. But in the meantime, so we find out that Roger is a video game designer.
Yes, designing a game about Dalmatians.
And then Anita works for Cruella de Vil as a fashion designer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she designs a spotted dress. Cloak.
Yeah, because Cruella's just like obsessed with furs, like got a Siberian white tiger killed so she could have its fur. Fucking amazingly portrayed by Glenn Close, though.
Incredible.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Brilliant.
So everyone in this film is playing at like 110-ish%. Because it's Disney, everyone else is playing at like 110-ish %. Hugh Laurie playing at a good 150. Glenn Close is playing at like a good 500%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
a lot.
She's incredible in this.
Apparently, Cruella was a bit more tame, and she was like, "No, I want to play her as awful as possible."
But she's so she's so unabashedly evil. Like, what's the point in half-assing someone whose like main raison d'etre is to kill puppies?
Her name is literally Cruel de Evil.
Cruel devil.
Yeah. She's so good in this, and like, it's such a level of unhinged. Just her eyes are constantly wide.
Yeah.
And she flies off the handle so quickly.
Yeah, and in like the best way. Her hair's incredible. Like, I completely understand why this film won. I think it won an Academy Award for costume.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because obviously you just have to look at how well. Honestly, something I was really impressed by the film. You don't necessarily notice it most of the time. The costume for Cruella de Vil is so good because it keeps that like weird silhouette from the cartoons and all of the artwork. It has that like weird hunched silhouette, but it never looks cartoony.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's really cool. And I noticed that like later on in the film when she's wearing like the red thing, but yeah, it keeps that like evil hunched monstrous silhouette pretty much constantly. It's so good.
Oh yeah, there's hella shoulder pads.
Yeah. She's got someone else.
And they were obviously all fake furs that they used in the movie as well.
No, they gave away all the puppies, but by God, what they did to all the other animals.
Yeah, bad day to be a skunk.
Yeah.
But yeah,
are we gonna go?
I mean, it's weird that there's skunks and raccoons in this though, because
that was odd.
To London. But
that was very much an Americanism where they were like, well, we've got to have the animals the kids will recognise.
Yeah. The cute one and the smelly one.
Yeah, the cute smelly one.
Yeah. So there's I think so the whole story is, because we could go through this story bit by bit. But like we'll get to the point where we'll just be like, and then the dog did the thing, because a lot of this film is just the dogs. There's no people in it for a good amount of the film.
It's
the dogs being dogs.
The actors.
But yeah, so the main sort of hit points to hit is like, so they get married, and not Cruella de Vil, the other woman, the main lead character, discovers she's pregnant at the same time that they discover Purdy's pregnant.
And Cruella de Vil doesn't want her to marry or get pregnant because she wants her to work for her forever, and she's all like, lots of women have been lost to marriage and don't. Because she's like, I don't see myself leaving here anytime soon. She's like, oh, but you do see, and she's like, well, one day I might want to settle down.
Yeah, which is like,
but women can't be married and go to work. Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that they made that the villain statement, considering she's like known for killing dogs. That they were like, yeah, but also she doesn't like marriage, so she's bad. That was weird. They could have just kept her killing dogs, and that'd been it. She didn't have. They didn't have to throw in anti-marriage is bad. That was just weird. But that scene where she comes in, number one, when she says, "I don't like babies. I have no need for a baby."
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah. It makes me sort of think she has at some point considered skinning a child.
Yeah, because she's like,
she says I'm pregnant, and she just goes, "You poor thing. I'm very sorry."
Yeah.
He explains that he builds video games and she hates it. Those annoying things that children play with and make loud noises, awful. People design those. Fucking incredible.
Yeah, she's not a fan of Roger from the start, which you can tell from the fact that she calls him pretty much everything except Roger.
Yeah.
Roland and Ronald and
then she starts offering like, how much do you want for the dogs, for the puppies?
Yeah, because where it's like inspired by Dalmatians, she's like, Dalmatians have quite coarse fur, but when they're puppies, it's quite soft. But when they're very first born, they don't have little spots. You get them later.
And then she storms in at one point and is like, I will give you money for the dogs.
Yeah, like 7,500, I think it is.
Which is not enough.
No.
Dalmatians are so expensive.
So when was this? 1996?
Yeah.
They were still expensive back then. They've always been an expensive
Yeah, I was going to
breed.
say.
But 7,500. So a normal dog now, Dalmatian puppy, goes for maybe 500 to 600.
£600? Are they not over £1,000 now?
Minimum.
Oh, okay.
Minimum. You can get like a normal.
I wasn't looking up how much. You
can get a normal Dalmatian puppy for like £500 or £600. You get like a purebred like they are. It's like way over like $2,000. There are 15 of them, and she's like $7,500. Fuck no.
So that was about. So that's worth 14,000 today.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So about about £1,000 a puppy, or just under £1,000 a puppy.
Yeah. So when she's like $7,500, like, no. Even if you don't want to sell them, but also that's way too little.
Yeah.
Ask for more. She clearly doesn't
probably
want
have
them
given more. Yeah.
She
even says like she'll pay double what they're worth.
Yeah, she doesn't know what Dalmatians are worth. What makes you think she knows what Dalmatians are worth?
No, she's stolen the rest of them.
Yeah.
That scene where Purdy's giving birth, and the nanny's like coming in like 15 and then just comes back in really sad like 14. That is so sad.
That's such an intense scene.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then just the happiness of when
I thought he was going to do mouth to mouth, the way they talk about him doing mouth to mouth to his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she got, nearly drowned.
And it's just like 3 minutes of really sad intensity, and then, oh man, that's such a good scene. And the nanny's so nice. He comes back in there
like, but isn't it kind of weird that they have a nanny?
No.
Yeah.
Why would
it seems a little bit odd.
Well, I mean, traditionally you wait until you've had children to employ a nanny, but it was like her nanny when she was a kid, so she's like as a housekeeper.
I mean,
guess.
yeah, I guess she's just a housekeeper.
Yeah, but live-in housekeeper.
Yeah, to be fair, she is really busy working for Cruella de Vil. I can't imagine. Yeah. By the way, Cruella de Vil reacts to her saying she's pregnant. I can't imagine she got many breaks and probably
no. And also, she was saying when she was on leave was it wedding leave?
Yeah,
or honeymoon leave. She was saying, "Well, I'm still sending you sketches," and I'm like, "Girl, no.
Yeah,
you're on holiday. Take a break."
Yeah, you deserve the break.
The reason she had a housekeeper probably looked after Purdy. She shouldn't have had a dog. She didn't have enough time to look after a dog if she needed a housekeeper. Just had that.
Well, I guess, yeah, because the dog was just left at home, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, of all the places you can't take a dog, a fashion studio, probably one where you could do considerable damage by accident if your dog got a bit, chewy.
Yeah.
Or wee.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Wizzo.
So they have 15 dogs. 15 puppies.
Yeah. And Anita's like, "Oh, I'm glad I'm only having one." Like, yeah, no shit. 15 would kill you.
15 children.
Like, in one go.
Yeah. Fully, by the way, that house is the worst smelling house in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like 15 puppies and an actual...
hardwood floors absolutely everywhere with all those old-fashioned carpets and...
That's what the nanny's doing all the time. She's cleaning up piss and shit.
And a human baby as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awful. No wonder, Cruella de Vil is angry every time she's in their house.
Oh, yeah.
She just walks in like, it's awful in here.
The second the door opens, it's just
fucking stinks. But yeah, Cruella de Vil.
Puppies are cute, but they do... They so
smell.
Much...
They
smell. Yeah, they're so stinky. They're so learning how to...
They are covered in piss nearly all the time. Which is fine. They're puppies. But 15 of them? In a 5 is enough to stink out a house. And you just get used to it as the owner. But I feel like...
Yeah, and it wasn't like they had a dedicated...
no, they just
dog room.
Around.
The dogs were wandering round.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't lose any.
Well, not yet.
Not a surprise they lost any. But yeah, Cruella de Vil becomes obsessed with making, because it's Cruella de Vil, and that's the story. Guys, if you've never heard of it before, she's crazy and wants to make an outfit out of dogs.
She literally won't rest until she can make a spotty fur coat sort of outfit.
Yeah. And so she gets Jasper and Horace, which is Hugh Laurie and the other guy, Ron Weasley's dad, to go around stealing puppies. And then the last ones they steal, they lock the nanny in a cupboard while the other two are out with the adults. And they steal enough that they've now stolen 99 puppies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of puppies.
Which is a lot, yeah. And that place that they take them to, the Cruella de Vil's mansion.
Yeah.
Why is it so run down?
I thought it was a holding. It was just a literally a place they could keep the puppies.
It might have been.
Right, it's not where she lives because she's not there.
Yeah, because she's got this other mansion.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an old.
It's just an abandoned house, isn't it?
I think it's another one from. I'm sure it's got DeVille above it, but maybe it is just.
She is unfathomably rich.
Yeah,
she is the owner of the biggest fashion brand. By the way, this film talks about it. She's rich. She's rich.
Yeah.
She's
and
rich
she has
comes from rich
car.
as well. Yeah. Oh, the car is amazing.
Car's brilliant. She's she has, I imagine, multiple houses that she uses for this sort of stuff.
I mean, if she can afford to employ people to, have 2 people to kidnap dogs and to employ a guy named Skinner to skin the dogs.
Look, when you're born with a name, you lean into it.
Yeah, and then you get your throat ripped out by dogs and have a horrible scar. So that means you can't talk.
Well, that scene, by the way, is when they're introducing Skinner.
Yeah,
and he's
so
Look, whatever you do, don't talk about the scar along his throat.
Yeah, don't talk about the big horrific scar.
Oh, blimey, look at that scar.
Give us a minute.
He gives me Mr. Tweedy vibes, by just massively.
Yeah, incredible. So they take him to their house.
The dogs are stolen, and some of the dogs see the dogs being stolen, so they start to bark, and they bark across London to tell Pongo and Birdie
this I
what's
feel
happening.
like you can tell that's what they're doing, but at the same time, it's so much better in the animated one, from what I remember, because you can really feel them communicating.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that in live action without it looking cartoony.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like put subtitles at the bottom.
Yeah, or
Woof,
have the
your
dogs
child
talk.
has been stolen. Woof.
Yeah, I was genuinely like a bit worried. I couldn't remember if they made the dogs talk at any point. They don't.
It's called the Twilight Bark, which is like how dogs would all go out and communicate.
Huh. And they're just informing everyone that some puppies got nicked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone seen the puppies? It's sort of like Next Door, but for dogs.
For dogs.
It's the local Facebook group, but for dogs.
Yeah.
And then
now that's definitely the lampposts.
Yeah, that's true. And then at this point, for about 45 minutes of the film, it's just the dogs.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
Yeah, you get a couple of other dogs that go in to help rescue them, and they get up to all sorts of hijinks, and...
They're best boys. Planning a... It was not just dogs as well, because they managed to sort of rope in all the other farm animals on the estate. It's like her ancient country estate. So obviously she's moved to the city or whatever, and has just let this place rot.
Yeah. Which,
money to burn.
What she did here before is interesting. Because it has some weird stuff in this estate. Weird thing. Because this is,
like a pool table? I can't think. What weird things are you thinking of?
Are you thinking of in the second one where it's got the hidden room with the weird artifacts in it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
We watched these very close together. It's weird in this film that I just realised that like all of the animals talk to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
They all communicate with each
other.
other.
But that's a pretty standard Disney trope, isn't it? That animals can communicate and humans can communicate, but they can't communicate betwixt themselves.
Well, they can, because they seem to understand the...
Well, yeah, they understand, but they don't actually... They can't say very detailed...
That is true.
Yeah, the dog. This isn't a. This isn't
a talking dog movie.
Cats and dogs thing where the dogs can actually just talk.
Yeah,
it's and they just don't. This is they have their own language, animal speak.
Yeah,
including our furry foreign friends.
Yeah,
and even some nice little rats, and they're the cutest little rats as well.
Yeah, and there's some squirrels, and they're all biting through the wires on the van and. Yeah, this sort of section is the main bits that I remember. Yeah, which is essentially Jasper and Horace being absolutely destroyed by the puppies by falling.
It's
through...
Mouse Hunt, but there's 100 mice and they are puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the bit where he falls into the lake was just the little pond was seared into my memory, and him just climbing out and freezing in place.
It's I had a great time watching this. It really made me laugh. Like there's so much just good slapstick.
Good time, family values is what it is.
Yeah,
really sweet. There's very little bad about this film, and it's aged really well.
It really has. Oh, the bit where where they're trying to get the van to start, and he gets him to look in the exhaust, and it just explodes in his face.
Yeah.
Well, it explodes because they've shoved a pine cone in it, haven't they?
Yeah.
And that's what they were using to try and scare the raccoons off, was yeeting pine cones at them.
Yeah.
It was good bit of revenge.
Yeah, just using everything against them.
But then all the puppies escape, but they haven't got home yet, and so Cruella turns up to try and track them, to meet with them.
Yeah.
And finds out what happens. Is like, well, if you fuckwits can't do this, you can't keep hold of 99 puppies in a house literally falling apart and full of holes.
Yeah, she's got unrealistic standards. We know this already.
Yeah.
I wish they'd let Cruella de Vil swear. Being the only character that was allowed to just swear freely would have been amazing. But this is where she's in the big red coat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. She looks incredible.
Yeah.
It is striking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there seems to be there's a bit where you feel like Hugh Laurie's gonna swear, but he says puppies instead.
Yeah.
Those two characters feel like they're always on the edge of swearing.
Yeah.
They just
they're about to, and then they remember.
To be fair, a lot of bad things happen to them.
Yeah, even without that, they just feel like they're on the edge of calling people fuckers, like, constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, the dogs have escaped, and she sends Hugh Laurie and the other two thieves to dog nappers to go find them.
Yeah, but she ends up trying to find them instead.
Yeah, she finds them in the house. They go out and follow the tracks, except they follow the tracks of some rabbits.
Oh yeah, then they try and go over an electric fence.
Yeah.
Just the log slipping and then just both like
possible.
Oh yeah, they both get electric shocks to the balls.
Yeah. I just love the bit where they're like walking off after and they're just like jerking and like just it's so good.
That looks like it would be really fun to act as well.
Yeah. Oh, this whole film looks like it was fun. And you got a puppy at the end of it.
Yeah, and then Cruella ends up like finding them in a barn, and so just gets
and she just tries to kill them. Like, it's so scary.
Yeah, she's trying to kill them. Cruella
she's
is
just
evil.
like, well, I don't mind if I make a few buttonholes, and out comes the pitchfork, and she's blooming stabbing away at the.
Yeah,
it's so scary. Because what if Disney decided to, like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna kill a puppy.
She pulls it out. There's just one impaled on the end.
I don't know about you guys. I don't know much about tailoring and making clothes. I get that that's not. I don't think that's how you make buttonholes. I just don't think the accuracy is going to be. It's going to be very hard to line them up with each other afterwards. I don't know. It just feels like she doesn't know how to make clothes at this point. Partially because she wants to make that of dogs.
Like, it'd look really weird as well because she's essentially got to stitch all these furs together.
Yeah, she's going to make a weird patchwork nightmare dress.
Yeah. Out of Dalmatians.
Full of load of tiny
I mean, if
spots.
you had all the fur going in the same direction.
Yeah, but you couldn't, like, control where the spots were. Like, it's not going to look nice. It's going to be loads of clusters of spots in patches. It's going to be horrible. That outfit would look awful.
Well, it looked good on paper.
Yeah, because you could pick where the spots go. And they were big spots. Right?
On paper, it looked more like she was going to have to skin a cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they were big spots. These would be like tiny little... Awful.
Impractical.
But also, like, aesthetically terrible. We know it's impractical. This whole film is essentially telling you how impractical it is. Yeah. But it holds on to that it would look nice. And it wouldn't. It wouldn't look nice. But yeah, she struggles to kill the dogs. Doesn't manage
she's just
to.
Obsessed with it. She gets like dropped in molasses, which I always thought was just like a vat full of pig shit when I watched it as a kid.
Yeah,
but then she does get kicked into pig shit. So
that's my question.
As a kid, I always got molasses and mollusks confused.
Vat full of mollusks.
She goes into a big tub of snails.
I have a big question though. Why is there molasses on this farm? I genuinely, when I was
same reason there's raccoons and a skunk, I guess.
No, but like those are like the American children. Why is there molasses on? What was this farm doing to create? What was this place functioning as at one point? If it has farm animals and like a giant vat of molasses
underneath the farm animals, which they could easily fall into.
Right. What was this place doing?
So molasses was often kept to feed pigs.
Okay.
Easiest way to supply a good source of fermentable energy and sugar.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There are pigs there. But yeah, she gets knocked into that because the dogs knock her into it.
It helps them digest hay and pastures and stuff like that.
I think don't the raccoons like pull a lever and she just falls
yes,
down?
Yes they do. She falls in.
That'd be like molasses is like surely really
awful.
sticky though. That'd be a
it's
horrible
like
way to die.
Yeah.
Like imagine drowning in that. It'd be awful.
Well, when she gets out of it, it's genuinely awful. Like
she
terrifying.
does look really scary, like actually scary.
And I feel like they didn't intend for her to be that horrific getting out of the molasses. But it's like, it's covering her face and there's like an air bubble where she's breathing. It's awful.
Yeah, it's real bad.
It's really creepy. Like something you could cut into a horror movie and people wouldn't realise.
Oh yeah, it's got that like the beast from the lagoon, like swamp monster.
Yeah, body
kind of energy.
And then she falls into pig shit.
Yeah, the horse like stamps on a floorboard and she flies out into it all.
Yeah. And then the pigs start eating around her, and it's like, Jesus Christ, woman, get up, they're going to eat you alive.
There is no second movie. She's been eaten alive by pigs.
What happened to billionaire Cruella de Vil eaten by pigs? See, she was covered in
one thing
molasses,
that we missed is that when she leaves her in her car, a skunk gets in her car when she's parked it, and sits on top of her assumedly dead skunk purse.
Yeah, her like little handbag thing. Yeah, and also Skinner at one point goes back into the because Lucky gets left behind.
Yes,
Lucky. And Skinner goes back and he ends up getting like bit as well. But when he's screaming, he makes no noise because he's got no vocal cords.
Which again, terrifying.
Yeah,
like genuinely scary. Imagine being like attacked by dogs and not being able to scream.
Not
Awful.
Good, but maybe he shouldn't skin animals for a living.
No, to be fair, but just the idea is terrifying. She was also, he was going to kill a little defenseless little puppy.
Well, he was going to kill 99.
No, I mean in that moment.
Oh yeah.
He was straight up just going to. He was like, because Lucky was going to get killed.
And then they've kind of worked out where the dogs have been taken, and they're in like the Suffolk area, and so the police and that are arriving in this small town, and they see all the little puppies running towards them.
Yeah, awful by the way,
cute.
Being stuck in Suffolk.
Yeah. I understand why those puppies were running.
Yeah.
Take us back to Metropolitan
And Pongo
London.
and Purdy have been leading them.
Yeah.
And then they're counting all the puppies, and they're like 98 pups, and the adults make it 100. And then Lucky comes along with the other little dog that doesn't count because it's not Dalmatian.
Like he just gets out.
Yeah, they're like, well, that dog seems to be quite independent. We don't need to rescue that one.
that one's all right. Yeah. And Lucky makes it 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Which is the title of the movie.
Yes. They say the title of the movie and it's great.
Cruella gets arrested and she's like in the same van as Skinner and the other two as well.
Yeah.
She's just like, you guys have got the podium for biggest idiots. And he's just like, who won the gold?
Yeah.
And she goes to find her cigarettes have all got, molassesy. So she goes to get more out of her purse, but it's a skunk.
She gets sprayed in the mouth.
By a skunk.
Oh man. But they give all the dogs back, all 15 dogs to...
Roger and Anita end up, like, they have no record of where these puppies have come from.
Yeah, and weirdly, no one else has been like, someone has stolen my vast amounts of puppies.
Again, very expensive dogs.
Yeah, but like no one reports them stolen.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, okay, that's sus.
The 85
you are
puppies.
either shit policeman, or you really, really want to give all these puppies to
one person.
Anita.
Yeah, to Roger and Anita can have all 99 puppies.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we'll have them.
And they're like, oh, we'll just buy a bigger place. It's okay. How do they afford that fucking mansion?
So his game does well. We forgot to mention earlier in the film, he's making the Dalmatian game we mentioned, but for it to be tested...
They get expert... Yeah, it gets tested by an expert.
Who is a child.
Yeah, he's a child. And he's like, the villain's just boring. Like, I don't want to annihilate her. She's like, annihilate the guy. And so he has the idea of putting Cruella as the enemy in the game.
And he's like, it's much better now, mate.
Yeah, I love the bit when the dogs are all watching it, because in the game they're going along on a cart, and every time they turn, the dogs just lean to the side.
Yeah,
it's very cute.
It's real cute.
And then they see Cruella and all run because those dogs are traumatized.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got, these dogs all have behavioural issues. Like, you cannot own any fur, faux or not.
Yeah.
Otherwise, these dogs freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's... Yeah, so that's how they afford the money, because whatever he picks becomes like Game of the Year.
Yeah.
So he is a billionaire, I guess.
Yeah, he makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Enough that they can afford to keep the Dalmatians, that then grow up and have more Dalmatians of their own. And then Anita's like, surprise, I'm having a kid again.
Yeah, they buy a big house.
Like, now they need a nanny.
Yeah.
Now they need several dog watchers.
Yeah.
Like that's not like, they aren't pets anymore. Like, that's a herd.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's called a pack when it's a load of dogs.
Not when they're spotty like cows.
And haven't they painted their house spotty as well?
Yes, they have. I was going to mention that. They bought a mansion and then painted it Dalmatian.
That's a bit, that's too...
No.
That's very Cruella de Vil of them.
Yeah.
But also that, my dog is my personality.
Yeah. To be fair, when you've got over 1,000 of them, because they do say, "Oh yeah, no, my puppy, our dogs, their puppies, their children, their stepchildren, their stepchildren's children. They've got 1,000 Dalmatians.
They've just got infinite Dalmatians. That's how they're really making the money.
And at no
they can
point
sell
are they
Dalmatian puppies.
Maybe we should give these Dalmatians away.
Maybe they start one of those experience day things where you just get surrounded by a shitload of dogs.
You just get attacked. You get to go into the Dalmatian pit.
Yeah.
By the way, that mansion...
100 go in, only 99 come out.
That mansion, by the way, stinks.
Smells awful.
Awful. Fucking terrible. There's so many dogs.
When I was at university, they did dog therapy.
Yeah.
During exam times, where they basically, I think it was one of the local rescue centres, did bring a bunch of puppies. And you just got to sit with the puppies for a bit if you donated some money. And it was a good time.
It was great. Could you imagine?
No Dalmatians, though, because people don't give up Dalmatians because they've spent so much money on them.
By the way, that garden that they have, yellow. Nothing would grow there with that many dogs.
Full of piss, full of shit.
Full of the grass dead. Because awful.
Too much wee. You got to train them to wee in the river, but then that's just a hazard later on. You'd
need so many of them little doggy bags.
You'd need so you couldn't take them for a walk.
Just start a farm.
It's a farm at that point.
Yeah, it's probably like using horse manure, right? Just
no, I don't.
Dog shit.
Well, the issue with dog shit is that it's what the dogs eat.
Yeah.
Whereas because horses already eat basically just hay.
Yeah,
their poo is very good for soil, but I don't think dog poo is.
They'd have to spend so much on dog food.
They would have to spend so much on dog food.
Their mansion didn't look like it was near anywhere either, so
that's probably a good thing because it absolutely hums.
Stink.
Imagine you found out your
Deliveroo of fucking
you live in a terrace and then next door has got 1,000 puppies.
You know the Dalmatian house down the road.
It's just got this constant haze above it. It's actual stink lines.
Awful. Just
but
again,
great film.
Amazing
Impractical
film.
ending.
Yeah, great, lovely film.
Puppies.
Real nice, heartwarming. It's definitely made me tear up a couple of times as well.
Oh yeah,
great.
Yeah.
When all the puppies come back and Lucky's okay, it's great.
Yeah.
So it bothers the vegan in me.
Yeah.
I had to get that out there.
Yeah.
Is it partly because to get the dogs to lick the actors' faces, they had to rub meat on them?
It's just one of those ones where it's fur is murder, but it's not commenting on eating meat at all. And it very much humanizes and anthropomorphizes the other animals in this film, but there's no
And it's she's already got all these furs of tigers and these exotic animals, but as soon as it comes to dogs, that's when it's an issue.
Well, no, there is the whole
she.
Oh yeah.
She's supposed to be not having furs, and she's supposed to be wearing faux fur and stuff, and she just doesn't want to.
And yet she managed to get
everyone's
into the
wearing leather
London
shoes.
Zoo to kill the tiger.
Well, she didn't get in; someone else did.
But everyone's wearing leather. It's cowhide's fine, but cute little puppies. It bothers me. It's one of those ones where it's everyone is so close to understanding that it's wrong to kill and skin animals, but then it's no, we will exclusively be it will only be not okay with it for these animals.
It's been nearly 30 years since this came out. I'm sure we'll get a Disney remake soon where it will have that message.
I hope so.
Well,
yeah.
Cruella.
Although this was technically, I guess, the first live action remake of a Disney movie.
Was it?
From because it was 1996, and then because obviously you've got all the ones coming out these days. You had Aladdin, there's Little Mermaid coming out and things like that.
Sure.
Lion King, which was pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would have technically been the first one, I reckon.
Maybe the first one that was good.
Maybe, yeah.
No. Yeah, I think so.
But it was good. Overall, it's a very good movie.
There was like serious criticism. Well, there was criticism when this film came out from like dog animal activists.
It was the second. The first one was the 1994 Jungle Book.
Okay.
No, so this film had criticism from animal activists, but in like a really weird way that annoyed me.
Oh, okay.
So people were upset that this film. So essentially, this film caused a lot of people to buy Dalmatians and then give them up to shelters. And when that happens, it means when it happens in large amounts like that, it means the dogs normally end up getting put down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a fair enough argument to make, is like, pounds shouldn't be putting dogs down. Like, good, healthy dogs down. We should have a better system. But that is not the film's fault that people didn't know how to look after animals.
No, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people would have just wanted to cash in and sell the Dalmatian puppies that they had. Whereas, like, because I guess, sort of got the experience of I work in an aquatics shop, and you still get people coming in like, I want a Nemo and a Dory, and I'm like, cool. They have very specific care requirements. I'm not going to just sell them to anybody.
It happens a lot when films about animals come out. People go and get those animals and then end up giving the animals back. But like, it happens in the same way that like when Jaws came out, a load of sharks were getting killed.
Yeah.
But just the
People are dumb.
A load of people bought sharks as pets, and then they were like, "Oh, I don't want these."
But
there's two takeaways from watching Jaws.
Don't get a shark as a pet. Don't kill sharks. But like, it's a valid argument to criticize Jaws for being like, we portrayed sharks as like intentionally
cunning,
evil creatures.
Yeah.
Like, that's a valid complaint to make. However, this film, you can't really be like, it's the film's fault. Number one, that people were like, okay to sell Dalmatians to anyone, but also that like people were buying dogs without knowing how to look after them.
Yeah.
I guess it's the common issue with puppies is like, people are like, oh well, I want a Dalmatian because of 101 Dalmatians. Oh, it doesn't matter that I live in a flat and I should probably get a Yorkie.
Again, but that's not the film's fault.
That's not the film's fault. No.
People are just irresponsible.
Well, it's a much bigger problem that like it happens way too often. People buy and get dogs and never look into how to look after them.
Yeah.
And like, every breed has a different set of needs.
Because Dalmatians, for example, they spot another Dalmatian, you have to marry their owner.
Yeah, you have
exactly.
to.
They will pull you on your bike all the way through London.
Yeah.
And throw you in a pond.
Like, okay, if you get a spaniel, you have to, like, normally have to have eardrops because their ears get hot because they have big ears. A lot of big-eared dogs have that.
Mm-hmm.
Dalmatians, you have to marry another Dalmatian person's owner. You have to. There's no way around it. Just medically, that's what the vet tells you.
Yeah. And pugs can't breathe.
And don't even fucking get me started on pugs.
No.
Because the pugs that can't breathe are the bad version of the pug. Good pugs are bred well and like properly do not have that problem.
Mm.
People just buy from shitty puppy farms because, look, it can't breathe, it's cute, it's dying.
What about those, all the chickens and turkeys that we breed that can't stand up because they've been designed so that they're bred so that their breasts are actually too heavy for them?
Yeah.
So they fall over, and then they're killed when they're essentially still babies anyway. But yeah, dogs also bad. But
the pugs thing isn't a deliberate thing. They haven't deliberately bred them to have bad breathing, right?
No,
an accidental
well, they
thing.
wanted the flat nose thing was a deliberate trait that they thought was cute, but then
they didn't.
It's got out of hand.
Well, no, it's because shitty puppy farms happened, and they accidentally bred them so much that it just kind of happened.
Yeah,
and they developed that problem. It wasn't like an intentional. We wanted them to have bad breathing problems. Like, no. Actual normal.
It was
pugs,
by trying to have that flat face.
Yeah,
they bred in breathing problems.
Yeah.
And now people want the flat face, but it's like, well, no, you can't because they can't breathe.
Well, you better be happy to spend 10 to 15 grand to get their nose fixed, like, which most people aren't. And it makes me so that owners don't look into that sort of shit beforehand.
So, what's your favourite breed of dog?
Any dog that needs rescuing.
Aww.
No, I've never had I've never had a straight breed of dog. They've all been mutts, technically.
Yeah.
I don't even know what my current dog is. We don't know. Not even the vets know. They're like, we think she's a terrier of a sort. Cool, that's all we need.
Yeah.
We don't care. I've never had a dog. Always had a rescue dog. Every single dog, apart from one, has been rescue.
Because rescuing is a good thing. If you want an animal, look into how to look after them and rescue them. Don't buy them from shitty puppy farms.
Yeah. If you're buying them from somewhere, reputable. Because there are people, I'm just going to talk about fucking breeding dogs right now. There are people that are breeding the genetic issues with dogs out of dogs.
Yeah.
There are corrective breeders. They're great. They're doing it with German Shepherds right now, where they're like straightening the back so the essentially their spine curls down currently and moves their hips forward. Bad. It's why they have like almost every German Shepherd has like severe arthritis in their back legs. They're breeding that out so they'll be healthier and happier. Go to those people if you want to go to a breeder. If not, rescue. There's thousands of places to rescue dogs. Rescue.
My favourite breed of dog is not that I've ever had one, but one of my favourites to cuddle, and I think mostly because of one dog that I always used to meet when taking my parents' dog out for a walk. Is a Basset Hound.
Oh, they're so sweet.
Oh, they're so cool.
That thing is, he was so soft and floppy, but damn, he was dense. He was like a brick pillow.
Yeah.
And he just used to hoover up balls. Like the happiest I ever saw him was when he managed to get 4 tennis balls in his mouth.
Yeah. Oh, I love a dense dog. I love a solid brick of a dog.
Because obviously they're so low to the ground, but they're just so they're not wide. They're just dense. They look, like a big. Basically, if you put a cereal box on its side,
they're so solid. They're so solid. Certain dogs are.
And I also love. I think there was like one of those. I watch all those puppy TV shows.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like Secret Life of Puppies or something. They had a Basset Hound, and they had a Basset Hound and then quite an energetic dog.
Yeah. That
was older, and that other dog, their first dog, could not understand why this Basset Hound just wanted to play for like a little bit, and then was like, right now I'm off to sleep. Bye bye.
I'm done.
I've got to have my nap now.
Yeah, I was watching a show that was about people adopting dogs, and they'd go to this. It was like a dog place that was like the main thing. But they'd go there, talk to the people that run the facility, be like, "What kind of dog do you want?" And then they'd find them the perfect dog. And then every single time they were like, "I'll take the dog," I cried. Every time. And it's like every 15 minutes that someone's like, "I'll take the dog," and I'm like, "Fuck yes, you will."
Oh, and there's always like that moment where they're like, right, this dog can be a bit nervous. Sometimes they don't like men or whatever, and they've got like a man there, like that's like the dad, and they're like, okay, let's introduce them, see what happens, and then the dog's like runs up to the man, wagging their tail.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I trust you. And then it's like the kid's like hand feeding them treats. And...
Crying. Immediately crying.
And I'm just like, God, they found the perfect family.
You're going to be there forever. Anyway.
One thing I wanted to bring up just before we finish, before we rate. 2 favourite lines. I guess 3 favourite lines. First one, what kind of sycophant are you?
Yeah.
She asks to Alonso, who's like just trying to really suck up to her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, what kind of sycophant would you like me to be?
Great response.
Because I definitely, as a kid, did not know what sycophant meant.
Yeah.
No.
And then Ron Weasley's dad being like, these deceased creatures give me a shrinky winky. Because surely they
know what that means.
Did the Americans just not know what winky meant?
Maybe not. That's awful.
I reckon it was the snow. For some reason...
It's shrinky winky. Sorry, no, it's just that my husband and I like turned to each other and I like, I'm just going to skip back a second.
Yeah, one of the lines that for some reason, like, when it came up, like, had sort of stuck in my head is when Hugh Laurie's like going around and he's like, "Here, puppies." Like, for some reason that was in my head. I was like,
yeah.
Just the little bits that like you remember it as it happens. You're like, oh yeah, I do remember this bit from watching it, because it's easily 10 years since I've seen this. Like, more than that, but like definitely. Like, maybe caught a little bit of it on telly, but not not watched it properly in a long time.
I can't get over it. I have no use for babies. Great. Mate of mine. She was gonna. So 10 out of 10. Out of 10, we're not allowed to use the obvious one. No one's allowed to use the obvious one, okay? No one.
Spots, no.
That's not the
I'm
obvious
going to give
one.
it, I think, 8 incredible shoulder pads.
Yep.
Out of 10. Corella's costumes in this was fantastic, and she does look cartoony, but without it being, a costume.
Yeah.
Like they still look like regular, obviously high fashion clothes.
It kept the silhouette of the character, but didn't make
and
it.
she
cartoony.
has that snatched waist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she looks phenomenal. Like
incredible.
evil, but phenomenal.
Yeah. I wish they did villains like that more.
Like, the fashion of it reminds me of Mikey. Remember when we went to that convention, and at the same time as the convention was a fashion show, and we were like, is it cosplay or is it fashion?
That was the best. That was hilarious. They were like right next door to each other as well. So like they were sharing the same like whole thing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah. Dan, out of 10.
Yeah, I'll have to go with 8 as well. I'm going to go for 8 times Jasper and Horace should have died.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
That freezing like fountain would have been awful, but yeah, they should be dead.
Yeah, easily.
And they might be in the second one.
Yeah.
Shanked in prison. Anyway.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go 8. 8 awful clothing concepts. Awful outfit concepts that would not work in reality. I wonder what other dogs she wants to make dresses out of.
I mean, bigger dogs, you'd need less skins at least.
Yeah, but they're not as soft. They've been through.
What about like poodle for like extra fluffy?
It's true. Although, like, you wouldn't want that as like an outfit.
No.
Maybe
she
just
could,
the cuffs.
She could just go like get a husky. You don't need to kill it. You just need to like stroke it, and there's enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That when you were saying about favorite dogs, like I love huskies, but I don't think I could ever keep one.
No, too much work, too high energy.
Huskies.
They look well cute though.
Yeah, huskies are a dangerous combination of loud and smart.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to use both.
Oh yeah, one thing that obviously didn't stand up to, criticism. It doesn't matter because the film's so charming. Like you just give it a free pass. But the rare animated scenes.
Yeah.
Oh
dreadful.
yeah, when they're like going down the drain pipe.
Yeah. And suddenly we might as well be in the video game he's designing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
they are suddenly so very shiny.
I'm annoyed they made a video game of this, and it's nothing like the video game he makes in the film.
Yeah, you'd think it would be.
Yeah, I think they just make that game. Yep.
No. Well, I guess with that, I have been Dan.
I've been Michael.
And I've been Helena.
You can find this podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Hilton Pod. That's at HILTM Pod. We're on Discord as well. You can come and tell us all your favourite breeds of dog and how many it would take to make a coat out of.
Don't do that bit.
No, not that bit. Since we weren't allowed to use the obvious thing for the scoring, you're not allowed to use the obvious thing for the Patreon.
Well, it depends how bleak you want me to get with the Patreon. Because,
yeah, I don't think we're...
I could say, give us your money and we'll go get 101 Dalmatians and turn them into an outfit. Could do that. I'm not going to.
But the catch is they're alive.
That's so much worse.
Oh yeah.
You just lie down and they run wherever they want.
Awful.
Yeah, there's pulled apart by horses, and then there's pulled apart by 101 Dalmatians. Like that's worse.
A different direction, because you're not going to have time to train them all. You can't
No.
And also, I think any training would become undone when like sort of pack instincts and everything would take.
They see a cat, you're gone.
Well, they see a man across the park who's also riding 101 Dalmatians.
You then have to marry that person.
You do.
Yeah.
That's the law.
That's just how the dogs work.
The most fucked up wedding dress in history.
That's a stinky church too.
We're going to adopt 101. We're going to adopt 101 dogs with your money, because dogs need adopting. Adopt, don't shop.
The podcast becomes very hard to make an edit. Just constant barking in the background.
Constant.
Everything has been chewed through. We have no cables left.
No.
But we would sound so happy because we've got 101 dogs.
But also maybe the other problem they have is they adopt them and then they start thinking, well, this is a bad idea. And then it's like, well, which ones do we give up?
Nope,
and then each of them is looking at you like, Mummy?
You can't do that.
You're not going to take me away from all my friends, are you?
Yep, no, can't
and
do
you,
that.
my favourite person, and my mummy and daddy, who I love to bits.
No, I have this conversation every now and then. People are like, oh, I want to foster a dog. I'm like, that's just delayed adoption. That's just delayed having another. Fostering a dog is just delayed getting another dog. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. Because I've never known anyone foster a dog and not own it by the end of it.
Yeah.
That's how it works. I couldn't say.
I'm happy with my rat boys. I would love a little spotty rat though. That would be so cute.